Dave, before I get into your fighters, I actually want to focus on, first of all, one of your former fighters who's decided to hang up the gloves, that being Anthony Fowler. Obviously, congratulate him in retirement, but have you got any words for Anthony, who's decided to hang up the gloves?
No, he's done absolutely fantastic. I know his backstory. I know what he's come through. You know, he's really he's taken himself to places that I don't think as a kid he'd have dreamt of. Had a fantastic amateur career, as we all know. The whole Team GB set up, success there. And then as a professional, you know, one of British boxing's big names, you know, and he's won a few titles, international titles, many a times, you know, drawing big crowds, big opinion on social media, a big character in the game. And one thing about Ant is that he wanted it bad, and he chased his dream by giving it 100%, no matter what, 100%. You know, when I worked with him, he was somebody that I needed to slow down a little bit because he wanted to do more. You tell him to have the day off, and then you find out that he's actually been, you know, he's been and done this and been and done that. But that's because of his desire and his hunger. He's not somebody that took his position lightly. It worked for everything he got, and I'm really pleased that outside boxing he's made a success of his life. So he was in a position where he didn't need boxing for the money for quite a while, but he still had that drive, still had that determination, you know, and you know, achieve good things. Now he's got to a stage, he's got family, he's got kids. You know, when you have kids and a family to look after, and your perception of what's important and your selfish dreams kind of change. And he's obviously with Supreme CBD, he's made a really good business for himself there. And despite, you know, what people want to knock him for, you know, we always used to have a joke about him, you know, with the CBD constantly. But it's giving him a great lifestyle. And going forward, you know, how old is he? I mean, I don't even know how old he is, 32, something like that. Going forward, being in that position at 32 where you don't need to keep boxing anymore and you have got a nice lifestyle going forward through something that you've set up, then, you know, I'm very proud of him. I'm very happy for him as well.
Now, I watched parts of the interview he did with Boxing UK, and I'll watch the full thing when I have a moment in time. But one thing that stuck out to me, which he was addressed, I think Carl Froch said to him, like, if fights were 4 or 5 rounds, he'd be world champion. So, you know, maybe that sort of criticism leveled to him, maybe was a 4 or 5 round fighter. You're someone who saw him in the gym on a daily basis. Just how good was he when he was maybe at the right weight or the weight he needed to be, you know, behind the scenes?
Very good. He was much better than what you saw on Fight Night. And this is what was frustrating for me as a coach, is the head movement, the defense, the feet. You know, that was all. I've got countless hours of sparring footage where you look at him and you think, wow. But then on Fight Night, he tensed up. He tried to. Do you know what it is? I always used to say to him, forget about impressing the fans but he cares a lot about what people think. Or he did as a fighter. He cared. He wanted to, because he knew that people. I think it comes from because he grew up without much, and he understands the value of money. And I think what it was is that he, you know, part of him is like kind of, he felt very privileged that people are actually paying to come and watch him box.
Right.
So he wanted to do it to entertain him, to get the knockout that people wanted to see. He wanted that too much, which put a lot of pressure on him, and it tightened him up a little bit. But his heart's always been in the good place, in the right place, and he was very, very keen to satisfy the paying public, you know, and sometimes that led to his downfall because, like I said, you didn't see the relaxed version of Fowler on Fight Night as what we saw in the gym.
He said in the interview as well, look, you were one of the first people to say to him, look, you need to move up a weight. Do you think he would have benefited from the move up to middle?
Hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? And we can all say that, but it was big for the weight. He's one of those where it wasn't like, oh, it's dead at the weigh-in. It's just what what you're losing by keeping your body at that weight and by not being able to perform, the percentages that you're losing out on there on being able to perform at a more natural weight to yourself. You know, people are that obsessed on trying to be huge for the weight, that sometimes they leave it until it's too late in order to move up. Or sometimes they've got a bargaining chip, you know. So I've had it with fighters before where you've got a world title at a certain weight, but you need to move up. You know, you've got a European title at a certain weight, you need to move up. But you can't, because, you know, if you give that up, you're not a big enough name for the promoter to go, oh, well, we'll maneuver you and get, you kind of like, you've lost your bargaining chip. And so they stay at a weight division a little bit too long. And then they get beaten, they get, you know, everyone says, oh, you blame it weight. But it goes on, you know, it can go on well before that.